What you expect?
Right, so you look at the bridge, and I'm like, how does this happen?
Cannabis fees,
Those
why
fees,
do we have cannabis fees?
don't have any.
Is there any money in there? I mean, I think we put,
$200.
that we've made, or we paid.
Fiscal year. Actual fiscal year is 23.
I don't know. We don't have any like retail cannabis.
You've been smoking weed again, Rodney?
Hey,
Left-handed, right?
For work, you do a bunch of insurance
The only
policies.
thing I know is named that is weed, and I don't think we should be buying any of that.
Well, the cannabis businesses that I insure, they make a lot of money, so
Yeah.
just saying.
Just saying.
Maybe they're smarter than we are by getting in the business.
Yeah, a lot of investment get into it.
I'm surprised that happened at the town meeting.
Well, is anybody interested in town? You have to ask the town to have a, because. I think you can grow it, but you can't be a retailer without the town's permission. Cause I know a couple of the ones that I insure had to go, they had to wait until the town vote
So
to,
maybe we have a commercial grower in town, and that's what the fee is.
maybe you think.
I personally don't think we should be smoking it, period.
We're not smoking it, we're growing it, you're not supposed to
That's right.
use your product. Yeah.
I say that,
He wants to eat it.
Recreation.
Right.
if I can't, then nobody else should be able to.
Well, that's a pretty nice attitude, Rodney.
And because of my driver's license, I can't get involved with it. But everybody else can, and they can run into me because they're high.
I'm pretty sure the school board probably shouldn't either, so. If you question who's around the pond.
And some people's recreation seems to go through every day.
All that's old, they can't even start up without it.
Right?
His words.
New coffee.
Another bumper sticker.
You get anything, where do you go hunting, Ohio?
Kentucky.
How was that, different?
It was very, very nice.
Where did you go? Where did you go in Kentucky?
I knew somebody would ask, and without writing those names down, I really couldn't. tell.
Well, give me a west, east, north.
But I'm guessing it's about centered. It was about 2.5 hours into Kentucky before we got to where we wanted to be. I didn't realize how big, I knew how big New York was because I've been going to Ohio,
Yeah.
but then I didn't, but you know, Ohio's pretty big too, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
You gotta drive all the way through that side.
Right.
Apparently.
A little bit of Pennsylvania and then a whole lot of Ohio.
Up and down, or was it pretty rolling?
You know, the landscape looked a lot like right in here.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. But the heat was something else.
Oh,
There was something said about the workers on that culvert up there being a little slow. Well, the poor guys froze to death. Because they came from where I was.
oh, right. I didn't see yours on it.
And it was chilly in the mornings, but 80 degrees in the afternoon. Yeah.
Weird hunting on the city.
I remember
So,
cannabis in Kentucky, I don't think.
but there again,
Well,
that-
I have figured.
that's another state that has all blacktop and the boys all liked it. And but like I said, they don't have any frost down there, so they can handle all the blacktop they
Right.
want.
Yeah.
Right. That's very true.
It's I thought very exciting. But the rules for hunting, yeah, I don't know if that's quite what fit into it, but we'll do that. You know, it's $2,000 if you don't find your deer.
Okay.
Wow.
It's $2,000 if you don't shoot the right size deer.
Really? That's the wrong size deer.
Do you have a deer slicer on your scope or anything?
And when you come from Vermont. Anything that looks bigger in Vermont looks like a big
Yeah.
deer.
Luckily, when Deb went to Illinois, it was only $500 if you didn't shoot the right size deer. Yeah, not 2,000.
This guy stopped by today who had friends hunting in Illinois, they said. These bucks with huge racks and they'd be like, nope, no, there's a bigger one coming.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. Yeah.
Well, it weren't actually, for the wrong deer, it wasn't actually $2,000, it was $200 an inch up to 2,000.
Wrong deer.
Or in West Tunbridge where we shoot them and then go out and see what we got.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be good.
Well, then, if you don't get the right one, you just take it home anyway.
That's right.
You don't tell anybody.
Right. The late in July.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chad went down with us and, he shot one. And it didn't go down and he couldn't find it, so we hired somebody to come out with a drone.
No kidding.
Really?
And, it was $500 for the drone for that shot. They found the deer, but they couldn't get up onto it to shoot it with a bow. And so they had to pass for the evening. And then them people wouldn't come back out for the next day. So we had to hire another drone.
Oh, God.
And that was $350 for that drone.
It's quite an expensive company.
And never did get the deer.
Wow,
And
wow.
it was terrible for him.
Oh,
But if you do get a deer, it's, you buy a license for $180 and then you, because you go into this lodge, and another $180.
you have to have access, right?
And then if you do get a deer, it's $350 to have them, because you can't touch it,
Wow,
to have them process it.
yeah.
$350 for that, and boy, that's quite a racket.
And the groceries, okay.
Tomorrow morning, I'm gonna leave a Jersey, I'll go to the barn, Mark Durkee's gonna kill it, we're gonna process it.
What if it's not the right size?
We'll find that out after we kill it. It cost me $85.
You don't need a drone?
Keeps on it.
Yeah.
No, no,
That's
that,
$4.
that Jersey meat
Does he
tastes
tan
pretty
it?
darn good.
Right?
I think it tastes better than Harrison.
I do too. I won't say that in front of where I am.
All right, we can start the meeting if we're done talking about deer.
Yeah, right.
Spent some deer.
Where's the owl?
Right there,
Oh.
there's your screen,
I
so you
wasn't
can
even-
see
Oh,
people.
wow.
Ever been, yeah, been
Oh,
along.
that thing's huge.
Oh, I have a bigger one. I put a post on Front Porch Forum and said, if anybody has a free TV, let me know. And I've got another one in there, somebody dropped off, that's like 3 times as big, but
Wow.
I don't know where to put that one, so.
Can you watch movies on it when you're done?
Sure, so that's what we'll do in the meantime.
Yeah, we watch a movie while we're doing that.
Yeah.
You get a match, you know, you've got like driving screen.
Movie night.
Exactly.
We had a Mason taking down the Stratford and they showed a movie
On there.
about the copper.
Oh,
History of the
mine.
copper mine. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh,
Yeah,
who made that movie, do you know?
I don't
Was it
know.
locally made?
It had local people in it.
Yeah.
Um,
Was it just about the Elizabeth mine and
all three towns.
Yeah.
You know, Stratford, Berkshire and Ely.
Huh.
And, Ted Metcalf.
Yeah.
His older brother was on there. He was coming up out of the mine on the elevator.
oh,
and
Charlie, yeah.
Something let go. And it flew up. The car
Yeah.
flew up and hit the top. And knocked him out. And then he fell out of the car, down onto the ground in the snow. And the big pulley on the top went flying out, come down, cut his arm and his leg off.
Right.
Yeah,
When was that?
That was a long time ago. I mean,
But you remember?
probably
I remember Charlie.
Yeah.
probably in the 60s, maybe.
I think it was even before that, I think it was in the
Right
late
at the end of the
58 or
line,
something
probably.
like that.
Just didn't it close in 60?
Yeah. And it showed,
When Brooks
Um,
ran down here, Charlie.
Right.
Cook.
and it showed, you know, like in 1830, they'd be selling like crazy, and then the bottom would fall out and then shut down. And then 1860, it would open up and.
Yeah.
And it
But
kept
it was
having-
like the richest vein in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
Has that started yet?
Why
Yes,
is,
yes.
why is Mariah watching movies?
What's that?
Why are you watching movies on your phone?
I'm not. Mary Ann's texting me.
no, she's watching movies. All
Yeah, she's here.
right,
Why don't you get going?
Yeah.
all right. Well, why don't we bring the meeting to order?
Stop talking about it.
In our casual way.
Yeah.
I see the first thing, it says road report, so let's get a report of the roads.
Well, the Kipling Hill, I drove over it tonight, so it is open
Oh,
Oh, wow.
and,
Is it 1 day or 2 days?
it was 2 days.
What?
And, but
Oh,
still,
that's-
still a long
you
ways
did?
from finished. Still a long ways from finished and, but it is now usable.
Mhm.
So tomorrow morning we'll take a couple loads of hard pack up to put over the top of it to smooth it up, 'cause it's pretty rough. And then, I think it's gonna be, I don't know how these things hold us up as far as getting reimbursed, because he says, and I'm sure he has, because he's been talking about it all summer, but, he's been trying to get the guardrails and get the guardrails and get the guardrails. And so I don't think it's gonna have any guardrails for the winter. It's gonna, he's lined it with Jersey barriers.
Mhm.
And I think that was gonna be our guardrails for this year. And, Matt is coming along really nicely, I believe,
yes.
Yeah.
on, the culvert that he's working on. I think we're gonna take the 4-footer back out of the ground tomorrow and put the water through the bridge, the culvert. And it doesn't look like we're gonna have any blacktop for this year, because order to, if we had our full 3 weeks that we planned on, we could have kept it closed and did the proper compacting where this culvert's coming out and everything. But now we're gonna have to put it into overdrive to accommodate the state's bridge project. And so, which means that I don't feel that we could blacktop this year, because it would be.
Better off to let it get pounded in this winter.
That's what I'm saying, is it, just, it would never stay anything but a big old hump somewhere. So, ain't gonna do that, I guess. But it's basically up to you folks. I don't think it's a good idea.
As long as you can plow it.
Or, only thing I don't really like about it is the fact that it's, got that nasty little turn just above the bridge. But the salt has to stop somewhere so it don't get into that.
Right.
That dirt down there and keep it soft all winter. So we'll have to try to do the best we can about keeping that corner as safe as possible.
Right.
And, Thomas has had their operation today. And,
Oh.
they're,
And Becky.
Mhm.
and, so he's supposed to be out for 2 to 3 weeks. I guess the reason why he needs to be out longer is because the climbing in and out of graders and trucks are the issue.
Makes sense.
And,
So is Matt gonna be available if need be,
well,
or Thomas or somebody?
Thomas, I think, will probably be the fill-in, which we need to just put him on record that he'll be a driver,
Who is this?
Thomas Brayley. And of course, throw Matt in there as well, because you never know when you're gonna need it.
Anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
Done anything about Larry's truck?
Gonna get on that as soon as we can.
Okay.
It hasn't arrived.
The brand new one doesn't work.
What does,
The,
too much
the,
to ask. It's-
Thomas, when he went through Burlington to pick his sister up to go over there, cause she's gonna do the driving. He stopped in up there to Viking and picked up the new switch. And we'll throw the switch in the truck. And then we just gotta mail the bad one back to them.
What's the switch for?
To engage the side dump.
Oh.
It won't, no side dump.
Oh.
So you can only do half a load before he has, which ain't even really a half a load. But, you can only do until the bed comes empty and then you go back, and put some more on.
Yeah.
And, my truck apparently had an issue while I was gone and it wouldn't shift. Couldn't get it to shift from neutral to drive or reverse. And this little. I don't know why I still have my
You come on, lose it.
But this little guy right there is the culprit.
Yep.
But you have to have the whole dash part and everything else to get to it. And I don't know why they would have done such foolish thing, but.
The refuse, is it?
Pressure.
Pressure.
Yeah.
Got the truck all back together and you gotta stand on the brakes to,
Shift or shift.
yeah. Well, this here is a 7-pounder, and for some reason. They sent me a 55.
A little different.
Leg exercise.
Maybe Thomas shouldn't lose any weight.
Right.
You're gonna have to tear it apart again?
So now we gotta tear it all apart again and put this switch into it.
The confidence out there. That's our truck world.
But the issue is, we don't have the time right this moment, we're trying desperately to get a bridge on time.
Right.
And,
What's the crossover between the States Bridge and Stratford Road? Within minutes, you'll have a lane going there and then.
They just bothered to help us when we needed it. And if we're a couple hours late, we're a couple hours late. That's how I look at it.
Which you think it'll be open some point Thursday?
I think it will be,
Good.
but I couldn't promise you it would be open by
6 P.M.
6 PM, might be 7.
Did you attend that meeting today? Was that?
It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow,
tomorrow.
yeah.
You haven't? Oh, that's right.
And I'm hoping that Mariah's gonna figure it out.
What am I figuring out?
Some meeting on the,
Oh, yeah,
Chris Bump was supposed to get a hold of you and.
Oh, yeah,
I.
I got it.
Okay.
Come right over to my house. Not worry, we'll do it.
And I told him that, cause it's all about that bridge up there.
Right.
I said, I think the most important one you need anyhow would be Mariah.
Yeah.
Having a snack.
And
while you're-
And if there is I can't picture it being a very big meeting anyhow, but,
Instant pizza.
And I can't imagine what we're gonna talk about that we haven't talked about for the last
3 weeks.
4 months or 4 weeks, but you know, that's okay.
I don't,
I'll go again.
It'll be
no.
but you can just set it home and, turn your computer on.
Yeah.
You don't even have to listen.
That's right.
Did they send out a revised
Yes, they did
Yeah,
this
that's-
morning, yeah.
Amazing that the wrong statement got out there everywhere, even on
Yeah.
WDEV.
Well, you know, and technically, it's a one-way street today.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't expecting why they were already closing it.
Because
Well, practice, I guess.
They wanted to close Thursday morning. Matt said, well, you can't do that. Until they came to me this afternoon, they said, can't we get started Thursday morning? And I said, no. Everybody's been notified that it's closing 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah,
And the motorists are using it
right?
and everybody. Ambulance, emergency people. And so I said, no, you can't close that early. And, so anyways, I guess that some of the issue is that, tomorrow's the last day legally playing water.
Oh, yeah, all right.
legally did what? Oh,
Legally playing water is my last day. That's why we're gonna try to do our part, get water back in our bridge tomorrow.
Mhm.
Nobody's told us that we had to, but technically it is the last day.
Like Brent was playing.
And that's about all I have to offer you.
How's the sand
Oh,
pile?
I was just gonna bring that up. There's like 1,800 left to show up. And, Mr. Pickett was, busy this week doing his last job that he has to do. And then he was gonna go full out on moving sand.
Is it all made? You're just gonna move it or is it?
I think he's gonna do a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Soon as this bridge relieves, we'll help get that over here.
Mhm.
And, Chase has called me a couple times, wanted to know if we just wanted to get it done and over with. But I don't think, so I called Larry and I said, geez, what do you think? And, cause he only got like 500 yards in the pile right this moment. And, he, thought if we could just have the patience that he could handle it. So I said, okay, well, we'll let Pickett, Chase go for another week and see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
But on one flip side of the sign of the story, you have to remember is, he had half this plow put up just before the flood. And the flood went through and washed it away. And along with ruined his screener. And so he had to rent a new screener and start putting a new plow up. And so that did hurt him. But I think it probably, I don't like running this late, but I think we probably still be all
How about McCullough's in the springtime plow that you wanna have?
right. They're back to making some. They're back to making 1 inch and 1/2 inch stone right this moment. And hopefully they're gonna upgrade to something different, because they don't really have anything up there. But they are back and
When did it close for the winter?
January 1st. So they technically got plenty of time to put stuff together, just that I'm the kind of guy that likes it in my yard, not their yard.
Well, one question I had was, I don't remember at the last meeting, some of these roads getting their culverts, like Boundary and Drew, was that like to meet some deadline, or was that just weather related, or FEMA? Or did I just miss something?
All of those that we put in is all due with FEMA. And I guess there's no giant deadline, but I have people that want it done so they can get paperwork done and get some money coming back.
So Drew Road is next week, you're gonna do those culverts?
They're all done.
Oh, they're all done, this,
Potash is done.
Well, all the culverts are finished now. And I don't think it inconvenienced anybody to speak of. I think that when you talk about inconvenience, you ought to think about our twister coming through and taking the whole town out. Or water that's high on the window going by.
that's an inconvenience.
That's inconvenience. Couple extra miles down the road, not a big deal.
Mary Ann has a question for you
Yeah.
before you leave, so. I don't know if she can hear me. There she is.
Can you hear me? So Rod, do you have any estimate on how much the guardrails would cost on Kibling? Because my only concern is that that's a $200,000 grant, and so if we delay until spring for the guardrails, that means we're gonna delay payment for until probably a month and a half, 2 months after whenever the guardrails are done, based on getting the reimbursement. So that's, you know, whatever that puts us out 4 or 5 months for payment.
I don't know if you can talk with Chris Bump and find out if a price could be either added or they send that part of the check later. Cause that's the same question we're gonna have on, Stratford Road. We're gonna have the payment, we ain't gonna have the guardrails.
Yeah, so Stratford Road's a little bit different. I've already been working with the FEMA rep on that, and that's a different answer. But in terms of the grant through Chris Bump, I don't know about that one. But that's why I was asking if you know how much, because we're already gonna have more than our 10% into this project. It's the $200,000 grant, 10% of which we're responsible for, but the bid was 239 something. So depending on how much those guardrails are, we may not be getting reimbursed from them anyway. So I'm just trying to do the math to see if it just makes sense to pay for them ourselves, because we're gonna pay for them ourselves. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Well,
Yeah.
will we get them through the same people we always get guardrails through? From us or CM and
I think these
Recreation?
are coming from Lafayette.
Okay,
I guess I'll just have to ask Mr. Hook. What he's figured out for price.
There was a price in the quote, but I don't know what it was.
Okay, I have that right up right now. I can look at it. Let me just pull it, go back to that page. Would it be called Rails? Is that what it is?
Yeah, probably somebody didn't put the guard in. I would say rails, yeah.
All right, so 16,000 is what on the quote from Hook, it says Rails 16,000.
That's the only thing I would know is that. So it's probably 16,000, but I can find that out from him, but if you see it there, it's probably what it is.
Yep.
They don't seem to be available at any cost.
It's crazy, and like Hook's got all kinds of guardrail up there, but the state changed how they can be hooked to the bridge. And so now they don't have any of that stuff. Cause the base is different. You know, they used to hook to the side, now they got to hook on top. Kind of crazy, cause he got a carload of on the side.
Right.
Bottom of it didn't drop.
So you heard the culverts were all in.
Yes, thank you. I'll put that in for my next FEMA meeting.
That's all you got? You can leave.
I think that's pretty much covers everything that I got going on right this minute. Except for a snowstorm came this morning a little bit and made things icy. Mountains up.
I'll stand up this morning.
Yep.
Like going by.
Actually had to go over in Stratford or to get into Tunbridge.
Well, thank you and the guys and Matt and everybody for
Oh.
putting in the extra effort.
I tell ya,
Get this going.
that,
done.
I think Matt has done a really good job of laying it out. Trying to stay with the schedule.
Yep.
But his schedule, nevertheless, so everybody knows, his schedule didn't count on being cheated out of 3 days.
Yeah.
And so we need to bear with him for that.
Right. I told him today that the second one will be easier.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm sure that eventually we will run into this and we'll have a really good idea
Right.
what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Because I think we can actually get one of those cheaper than you can get a real bridge.
Yeah,
But you guys ended up, well, you weren't home, but the guys and Matt and everybody started assembling it, so.
Yeah, well, Matt said he couldn't wait because those other people just couldn't get here.
Right.
And,
Thomas really said the salesman there, or whatever, came up the day the men showed up. And he said, boys, so they're moving right along. Matt said, no, we did that.
yeah,
And the guy said, oh, you 3 guys? He said, yeah. He said, well, you interested in doing some more?
I bet they would. Because I can honestly tell you, I know the bridge in North Tunbridge is gonna roll right along. But, I bet you they don't roll like that does.
Right.
Cause we have been knocking that right out, I feel, you know, we're gonna have water inside that thing by tomorrow.
Yeah.
All righty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rodney.
You're welcome.
Trip over on the stuff, Ron.
I guess we can get over that. My feet don't come up as high as they used to.
You can make
Get over
that, yeah, okay.
Guys, it's jump, you better do it.
That's right.
All right, next.
Oh, one last thing on that, we should also, I said in the minutes, recognize all the other people who've been involved in this, like Brenda and Simon.
Yeah.
The emergency, yeah, the first branch, Belmont Rescue.
Yeah,
They've done a great job, a lot of
He
people.
got him up one.
That and that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's been a whole team effort, that's for sure. Everybody's worked pretty well together. Except the
Yeah,
crew that
pretty-
came from out of state.
Pretty nice, some guys, I guess Matt worked both weekends and everybody worked last weekend.
Yeah. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
All
oh,
right.
I forgot my crackers, going to run down the store.
I just run right to the house. We'll be closer. Thank you.
You should probably keep an extra box and.
Yeah.
try and post on this.
You're welcome, Karen. I know, I'm still not thinking.
Use the vaults for something.
That's right, grabbers.
Cheese storage. Get some HPs in there.
Hey, cheesecake.
Yeah.
All right, Kathy, you're up.
I don't have anything really exciting to report, except for we're finishing up our final tournament this weekend.
Oh my God, really good.
Really, I want to go on this weekend, it's for the food shelf. Margaret said she didn't know if you guys know, but the food shelf has been in pretty good need of stuff. There's several families using it, about 40 people are using it on a regular basis. Yeah, so they were low on lots and lots of things, and so we're gonna raise money for the food shelf, plus part of the tournament is if you bring a banana box of food, you get $50 off your team fee to get in, so the teams are, it's funny now they're competing with who can fill the most banana boxes, so we'll see how they do.
Yeah.
And then next month, we're gonna go back to doing breakfast. I have quotes out. Shaw Electric is working on a quote for the lights on the field for me. They were the ones I insured them as a customer, and I figuring out what they do for work to insure them. They do. It's some of their projects are that I'm like, finally. So I asked them if he could do a bid, and they've been out and looked at it, and they're supposed to get a bid back to me. And the playground, I've got the place that we got it from before, a garden times, I've got to call out to the person, the sales rep, and I haven't heard back. But the one that we have, they don't make anymore, so if we're gonna look at a new playground or
What do you mean, the whole playground?
Yeah, I mean, there's no, you can't get parts and pieces for that one anymore. I mean, that one we bought before Kevin was here, and he had it for several years and he was alive. So we'll figure out what it costs, and then the tire that's underneath, about $400 a ton, so we're gonna order more of that, but we figure we wait to spring at this point, it doesn't make sense to bring it and then have snow on it. So in the spring we'll do that, and we're hoping maybe, depending on how much the lights cost, we can do both in the spring. Depending on how that works out. Eustace Cable said that they would donate the poles and the labor to set the poles that we'll need for the lights, so the cost will be the electrical, whatever that costs, and hooking that up.
Yep.
And hopefully they can give us an estimate on what it would cost per month to have it, but I would think we'd only need them on when we're using it, so it shouldn't be a huge expense.
Yeah.
But other than that, that's what I got going on. Like I said, we're gonna try to maybe do a couple breakfasts a month in the winter to make up for what we don't do in the summer. It's hard to do both.
Did the volleyball get set?
We gotta get sand for the volleyball. Matt was working on getting us some sand, so as
Okay,
soon as we get sand, the nets there and everything.
next spring, maybe.
Yeah, next spring, and then, what's the other thing I was gonna say? I forgot. Yeah, hope, a little league, hopefully they participate, we do a little more fundraising with them this year, and feel like there was a lot of fundraising, but I'm hoping the kids can generate. I mean, we spent a lot of money toward it, which we want to,
Is there as much participation in Little League and T-ball and all that stuff?
oh yeah, there was a lot last
good.
year. I can't remember, I don't know, Marianne, if you remember the number of the kids, but it was over 100 kids that were, I think they said that were participating between the softball and the baseball program. So it was a lot of kids, so I'm excited that so many kids
Yeah,
are participating, and we worked well with Chelsea. It felt like we indicated the baseball stayed on the Chelsea field and the softball team stayed on the Tunbridge field for the most part. And the schedules seemed to work out pretty well, so. This year.
Yeah.
We'll just hopefully we be able, now that we're got our feet under us, we can get up some fundraising with the kids, because I think it would be helpful if they put some money back into the rec too. We're gonna support all the programs.
you're still selling the banners or?
That's, we wanna get that back and go too, is just having a person that can call and do it. That's our biggest downside right now, is having people, but we're hoping maybe with the baseball, we can get some of the kids to, hopefully, if we can get them to participate, we can get them to maybe go out in the community, sell some banners and do things like that. Last year was our first crack at it, and we didn't really have much time for fundraising before we got started together, so hopefully this year we can do that. But other than that, it seems to plug it along.
That issue about alcohol.
Oh, the mixed drinks?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot about that.
There was one tournament,
Too
where they
many
had
drinks.
Not enough.
not enough. There was enough one tournament,
Yeah.
but it was a family that they came and they had it for, we told them we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So we already told them
Okay.
What are the alcohol rules there, just, because I think maybe we were going to the dump,
just bring your own, we don't put any alcohol.
but you can have alcohol like in the bleachers.
Mhm.
You can, okay.
You're not supposed to, so we put up signs and stuff for when, because the school, we don't want it to happen when there's school events there.
Right,
Put up signs saying you can't have alcohol. In public fields, so,
right.
which is kind of the same with Chelsea runs. I think the school fields are different, they don't allow it.
Right.
This kind of what part of that on.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So what, you can have alcohol on the premises if you bring it yourself? That's what you're saying,
Yeah,
just not on the field itself, is that where the
Right.
other borders are?
we tell them that, just have a field.
Right.
Makes you better play if you don't have a beer in one hand and. Well,
We have seen that happen. before.
Yeah. I've seen that.
Yeah, that has happened.
They drop the glove.
It's funny, kind of like the Tunbridge Fair, but it's tamer now than it ever used to be.
That's our land, isn't it? Can they have beer in a town garage?
I expect not. I don't know that.
But it's kind of like they have beer at the dance over here, and it's a different kind of thing.
Yeah,
They can have like, I think Mariah's on here, but correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that they do like wine sometimes at the library. That's a,
Yeah.
Hey, don't tell our secrets.
sorry.
I'm just kidding. It's only happened like once and it was Marsha's retirement. So
Yeah, but I think it's fine. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not sure of the rules. I know there was like, it was allowed and then something like apparently Jean was telling me it was allowed and then it wasn't allowed for some reason. So I honestly haven't dug too deep into it, but I know, yes, it's true. We did do a little wine drinking at Marsha's retirement party.
That's the other thing I wanna say. I've been approached about the monument sign down there. There's names on it, so they wanna get names added, like we should get Kevin added and Sue Barnaby, and there was another name that Jean Parker told me, ironically, Kevin's the last person who did that, so we're trying to figure out
Green Valley
Green Valley.
and
is it?
Randolph.
Okay.
You'll just call them and they can come and put it on for you.
Okay, so we were thinking next spring when we start with our first softball tournament, our first kids tournament, whatever we do, maybe they do like a town thing and. Have them be a man's honor, reveal their names or something like that would be a nice. Recognition. But, yeah, but other than that, anything you guys have for me?
No, I'm starting to touch base with you to see if you had any time for next year, you told us about that, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right, we'll be up then. That's not, that sounds good. But, yeah,
There is no sneaking in here.
I'm pretty sure. I know, we've. Yeah, we have to find out how it's learned and all that. But
Working well?
I guess. So far, yeah, they're working on getting the, because there's controls now where you can take control of your home.
Right.
Really fancy. But. We're working on.
How much is that?
So it was a, it was probably $800,000, but we got a bunch of grant money. And then it's an energy program, so it pays itself back with energy savings. So our budget went about 50,000 over the next 10 years.
They don't have money,
No matter what, they all cost money, but the savings are, they all do like. Over all our lights to the.
Yeah.
LEDs that help us switch over those, Tunbridge is one of the last one, the buildings to get done, Chelsea's done, and now Tunbridge is coming, because they've got a lot of example partners, so kind of lights. But they're working on that now. We have a pre-K program, the school now, it's pretty cool, it's in Chelsea, which is full, I think they have 19 kids. Full days,
well, that's good.
so. Yeah.
They still have prepay at OCBCC.
They do, it's limited though, to. We worked on partnering with them, but it really didn't work to partner with the school, it was easier to have our own program. And the Head Start program pitched in a bunch of money for a teacher, so. Yeah. I've seen those things.
You know that. Universal school bill for the legislature. You think when there's pre-K at a school, I think those kids are eligible for the universal school.
Which is cool. I think it'll be good for our community. I think it's helping people be able to go to work, providing things that. Because the pre-K was provided with, at least, it's not someone that's gonna get provided subsidy. So the free. Yeah, it's great reason.
Yeah.
Which I know this is not rec talk.
Yeah.
I got sidetracked.
It's okay, that's never happened before.
Right, okay, ask the league just about like alcohol use on municipal properties, I mean, just good to know. Like,
No, yeah.
the recommendation.
We do have signs. I haven't looked into it before, and they're not supposed to glass bottles. Because of the glass, we looked into it for the insurance, so we already did that.
Yeah.
But they didn't want us to have glass containers because for insurance problems, I guess. You one who wants to clean that up. I think it's
No kombucha in bottles.
They make it in cans.
Okay.
It's okay.
So yeah, that was one of the,
Yeah.
so we posted signs that said, no glass containers and no alcohol on the field.
Uh-huh.
Right, thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'll let you know how I can help with those quotes for the lights.
Yeah.
I'll be back as soon as I get them. Let you guys know.
Yeah.
I'll speak up. I made it.
All right, let's stick on over to Ray Lawrence.
Okay. Hi. It's first of all really loud here and I'm super sorry about that. I'm at hockey as one does meetings from. Mariah, I can't share my screen though.
Did you ask to share your screen?
It won't let me. It's just saying host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Can you make me a co-host? That's like a
Um,
way to do it.
There you
Oh.
go.
Here we go. Okay, there it is. I got real fancy and made a PowerPoint to organize my thoughts for you guys. So rather than every time I press play on one of these, it messes up. So I'm gonna just leave it like this so you can see all the little side ones. So anyways, the library's been really, really busy, as you all know, and it's been really awesome. And I know I haven't updated you guys in a long time, but a couple of big things, you know, are kind of hopefully, you know, in the process of happening. So I thought it would be a good time to update you. Just for some like numbers here, you can, without looking too closely at this, you can clearly tell that this one on the left, the light blue one, the patron visits is just like increasing dramatically. And then the graph on the right is just the after school programming numbers, which are humongous. So the library is really busy, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing, but also a really loud situation. And, you know, with the busyness of the library, you know, I've just been sort of brainstorming ways that we can continue offering what we're offering and, you know, be a suitable spot for anybody at any time. And so it's not just our patron visits that are increasing. I wrote here, it's like the use of the community room, the use of the outdoor space. We have a lot of partnerships, circulation is up. So all parts of the library are really busy. So, which is wonderful. So I've just like had a few goals that, you know, I thought were important to talk about, because often people say to me, why are you offering this after school program? Shouldn't the school be doing that? And it's really, all of a sudden I realized that I need to make it clear that like, we're not in the business of childcare. That's not why we're offering the after school program. It's because we're trying to get people in the library that we don't normally see in the library, and to create a space where kids grow up feeling like they belong in their community. So so it's really important to me that we continue to offer that after school program, and to kind of figure out how to make quiet space in addition to offering that. So in comes these two great grant opportunities. You guys might remember when I wrote the Libraries Transforming Communities grant in the first time, where we got the bikes. So this is another opportunity for a lot of money, and it's for accessibility, and it's a really exciting opportunity. So I'm applying for that. It's due mid-December. These are the things that I'm asking for. I'm trying to like focus on people who are neurodivergent, which is, according to a lot of statistics, 20% of the population has been diagnosed with one of these issues, and never mind the people that haven't been diagnosed, right? So we're trying to come up with some quiet space, even like a temporary fix, like a Band-Aid, you know, maybe a space where there's, you know, advertising the quiet space has been good, but maybe creating more space in the teen room, as we call it, up front, or something like that. Upgrading some of the furniture. There's ways to do that where we can sort of fit in that we need, like, you know, more cozy spots. a mental health resource center, assistive reading devices like the little like screen-free audiobook players, to offer a lot of, you know, collection development opportunities. The graphic novels are huge for people with dyslexia. So just a lot of different avenues will go with applying for this grant that I'm really excited for. I thought a lot about combining the efforts of this next grant with this one. I think that they really complement each other and they're going to strengthen the grant opportunity. This one is the big one that I'm really excited about. I've wavered back and forth about whether or not we should apply for it. But I think I'm going to go for it as long as you guys are cool with it. It's the Paul Brunn Historic Preservation Grant, and it's a federal money. It's through the Parks and Recreation Department, and then it kind of trickles down to the Preservation Trust of Vermont, and it's like a subset of that. And basically we qualify right off the bat because it's for historic building preservation. And I've already spoken with the woman who runs it, that happens to be living on Monarch Hill, which was really convenient and lovely. She lives in the A-frame, Jenna Lipinski. She works for this group. So she came to the library and we chatted about it. And I would love to redo the upstairs of the library and make more space available to us. It's such a cool, awesome space up there. I don't know if you guys have all been up there before, but you can come and see it. It's really neat. And these are, so that it could be a spot for meeting space. I've talked to a lot of law students who would love more study space. That's funny that I wrote Paul. I don't know why I wrote that. It's not why we're making that. We're making it for Paul. I don't know what that was for. Sorry about that. That's funny. So anyways, it would be really cool to do. I've done a ton of research. I've got a lot of questions that need to be answered still. A lot of them are about accessibility. I've just recently found out that, and you guys probably already know all of this, that so that's like the 20% law in Vermont. Are you already familiar with this?
No.
Okay, so I guess with new construction and with renovation, and I might not be right about this yet. I'm like just starting to understand how this works. Like if you have to use 20% of whatever you spend on accessibility, handicap parking, even like widening doorways. And once all of those different options are exhausted, then you have to look towards a vertical lift. I got a very, very, very rough estimate from a builder today, Peter Anderson, that would be an awesome person to work with for this project, of like $80,000 to fix up this space. So that actually makes us exempt for having to have a lift, because a lift is, according to the person that I spoke with at the lift, whatever, the guy, he sells them, between $34,000 and $40,000, like without construction. So obviously, in order to have a lift, we would have to have another source of funding, which isn't impossible. It's really not. There's a lot of funding out there for accessibility, for community buildings, so it doesn't scare me, but I think that we'd have to go one step at a time. First step would be to renovate the upstairs, leaving a space for the lift available. And then, putting the lift in because it's the right thing to do, not because we have to do it, I think would be ideal. And then, things to consider. I have tried to talk to Bob Sponable. Am I saying that right?
Yeah, he's right here.
You are. I'm right behind the monitor.
I would love for you to, I can't hear you guys very well, so.
I got your phone call and one of our fire marshals is gonna be calling you tomorrow or Thursday.
Amazing. So that's definitely a sticking point. I definitely need to talk to you, which will be great. I've learned a lot about, what's required, but I don't know much. So I look forward to that. And then, yeah, I've talked to all these different people about estimates, so I've got a general idea of what we're dealing with. There's no real big damage up there. I even called Jim Wick last night, and that was really fun to talk to him. And what do I need from you? What do I really need from you is to have you like basically know that because you own the outside of the building, it's important that you're involved, because there would be an easement, which you guys probably all know what an easement was, but I actually even had to learn that. So does anyone need an explanation on that?
No, what, who would hold the easement around?
It
Trust?
would be the trust, yeah. And I can send, I think Mariah might have an example of a.
I just gave it to John.
Okay, great. And, but that's just an example. And I've talked to Jenna extensively about it. Like, it's pretty basic. Like, it's even, you know, it would be, I was coming up with the most crazy ideas just to see what would fit into it. And like, I'm like, could we build a gazebo still? And she said, yes, you could definitely, like, you'd still have to consult with them for anything on the outside of the building to keep its historic nature. But basically, in the end, it's like, don't cover it with vinyl. Like, don't, you know, paint it a crazy color or something. I don't know. But I think they work with people a lot. So if you have any questions about that, but before I write the grant, obviously I would need to know that you guys would be okay with me applying for a grant that would have, I mean, and obviously you would get to review the easement proposal before we signed anything.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Mariah, what, just basic information, what is upstairs and what goes on up there, if anything?
Nothing goes on up there now. Right now, it's just 2 rooms. Well, it could potentially be 2 rooms and a really tiny room and like a hallway with storage. But right now it's nothing. There's absolutely nothing happens up there. What I would like to happen up there is to have like quiet sitting rooms. I would like to have space available for people to go up there for like programming to happen, or for just quiet spaces for people to be. It's a really beautiful space up there. I definitely suggest anyone who has time to come by and I can show you up there because it's cool. It's actually got faux paint all over it. Have you seen, you guys probably already know about this. Do you know about this faux paint where people like used feathers to paint wood so that it looked like wood? Yeah, it's quite beautiful.
You don't have to do anything different with the heating system if you go upstairs.
Yeah, we would definitely need heat up there. It's also incredibly hot. But according to Peter Anderson, maybe like some really good insulation would immediately help with that. And then I briefly talked to Dave Royce and somebody else, and they think that maybe just the splits would be adequate. It's really not a large space, it's small. But yep, we would definitely need all of it, electrical, heat, insulation, all the cosmetic portions of it. I mean, it would be a big project.
all right,
Sounds
All right.
good.
Well,
Okay.
thanks, guys.
thank you for the presentation.
So it's you're gonna apply to both those grants.
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. Yeah. So that would be pretty cool. I mean, and who knows, right? Like Willow was asking me on the way here, like, have you ever wrote a grant and not received it? I was like, yes, many times. So, you know, luckily my track record is pretty good, but I've never applied for something so large. So yeah, Marianne, I've consulted with her, which is great. And I'm definitely forming a good working group with Izzy Provancha said he would be on it. I thought from like the historic perspective. I'm inviting a couple of trustees and all of the staff at the library. So I think together we can put a strong application together.
All right, Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thank
Thanks
you. Okay, bye-bye.
Go back to honky.
Okay.
Another long conversation about Grant, whether
Yeah.
Danny roll on the way home.
Yeah.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. Mary Ann Karen,
Look at us, right on time.
the pressure's on you, Dave, now. You should have a PowerPoint instead of a handout.
I got two buddies here.
Mary Ann's next, then we'll get to you.
All right, so I sent you guys a report. I don't have a lot of updates since the report. Just a couple of key things. We have submitted the Button Hill Phase 2. We're expecting around 29,500 from that. The EOC grant has been finalized and submitted. When I sent you my report, we thought we were going to receive about $12,000 in reimbursement. That's actually down to about 11,200, because we did not realize that there were some things in there that they do not reimburse for. So for example, they reimburse for the cement pad and the tank for the propane, but they do not reimburse for actually filling that tank with propane. So that entire propane load I had put into our report, and they contacted me and asked me to revise it and remove the expense of the propane. So I think that was the big one that got pulled out. And then let's see. So the good news there though is that even with that, that project came in under budget by just about $3,000. So that's $3,000 that can go back into our ARPA pool of funds. And then also Mariah, you may be giving an update. I don't know, or maybe they already know about the work that you're doing under the ARPA for the record digitization, but it looks like that one's going to come in significantly under budget as well. So we will have more ARPA funds to stick back into that pool of dollars from that work. We have not started either of the large projects for ARPA. The two weatherization projects that you all approved. But that's okay because we applied for the MERP and received the MERP grants for doing the assessment, the weatherization assessments. And Becky was coordinating with them. I've not heard a date yet on when they will be out to do those assessments of our town office and our town hall. But at this point, I think that's fine because that will give us a much better understanding of what we need to do. And then it'll actually allow us to apply for the full MERP grants, which again, we've been told we're not necessarily high likelihood to receive, but we can always apply. The sidewalk scoping project, I've not heard, Mariah, unless you have, that they have started reimbursing yet.
Oh, so, well, sorry to interrupt. I had been told that reimbursement was going to be right around the week of Thanksgiving, but then I received another email from Rita stating that she was told to pause completely on the project because they weren't sure when the funding would be coming at all now. So Two Rivers has paused the project for us because, you know, they're not also receiving reimbursement. So they said they would let us know when they got the green light to continue that.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update. The big one, John, if you can give any feedback back to the Agency of Natural Resources, this whole Trails Project grant has been a complete nightmare. And we were actually awarded the grant in May and we still don't have a signed agreement. It took them months and months to request all the information they needed. And then DHP, the Historic Preservation, sent a number of questions which make no sense because it's the middle of a forest and, but they sent questions related to how deep were we going to put the posts into the ground that are going to hold up the kiosk signs, and what was the weight of the bench that we were going to install, all of these questions and we responded to them months ago, and they still have not cleared us to move forward with a contract. So at this point, we will literally have been awarded the grant probably a year before we can ever break ground. And that's assuming that we actually, get a response sometime soon. So that has been a real eye opener doing this project with the Agency of Natural Resources.
So historic preservation is under A&R.
Yes, they had to sign off on our project for whatever reason. We were, you know, the contact keeps saying you cannot move forward. We will not give you a contract until they sign off on it, and they haven't signed off on it yet. That's actually that's the same group that took so long signing off on our EOC, our emergency center grant. But they actually signed off faster on the emergency center grant than they have signed off on the trails grant, which is just ridiculous. So that has been, dealing with them has been challenging, but the entire process with this trails grant has been crazy. Let's see. I think in terms of what's next, obviously, when Becky returns, we're working on the Whitney Hill. She needs to pull all of the receipts for me for the Whitney Hill reimbursement. That's next on my list. Kibling Hill was after that one on my list, but I think we need to rethink that with the guardrails. So if we need to hold off on submitting that one, I did pull the contract. We do have until December of 24 to finish the work. So it's not an issue of running up against the grant timeline. It's just going to be an issue of waiting, you know, whatever, 5-6 months for our reimbursement after the so waiting till spring to get the guardrails in, and then adding 1 to 2 months for final check clearance, and then submission, and then reimbursement. So I don't know. I'm guessing like maybe May or something, depending on when the guardrails actually go in. So that's Kibling Hill Bridge. And then we come to sort of the majority of what I've been spending my time on, which is the FEMA work. We submitted our damages inventory, which we had 60 days to do. We submitted that. We had 5 roads left to complete. Last time I had talked to Rod, it sounds like as of tonight, actually there's 2 less on that list because the 2 culverts on Drew and the culvert on Foundry are now in. So those 2 roads are complete. I actually forgot to ask him, but I think if anyone has anyone drove on Howe Lane? Is the blacktop done on Howe Lane?
Don't know.
I don't know. I know it was slated to be done like last week.
Last week, yeah.
But I'm assuming it's done.
Okay. So if that's done, we're literally down to 2 roads, Whitney Hill, and then obviously the major work that's going on Stratford Road. We have, it's at the moment, that estimate for our FEMA projects is over 500,000, 515,000 roughly at the moment. I certainly expect that to move around a little bit because, you know, some of that is we don't have all of the invoices and things back yet. And then our rep has been on vacation. She is back next week, and starting next week, we will focus on getting all of the paperwork submitted for each of those roads that is complete now. And that will allow us to actually get put into the queue for reimbursement. Though I will say, our rep keeps saying, you know, it's important to get in the queue for reimbursement because reimbursement takes a long time. So I have no idea what that means in terms of once we actually submit the receipts, when we'd actually get the dollars. It's on my list to ask her specifically what she means by long time when we meet next week.
Down for it.
Yeah.
So any questions? That's my update. I don't know if there's specific things I didn't cover.
Marion, did Simon get in touch with you about possibly looking into fire truck grants or some sort of leveraging? Because it's looking like the fire department is probably going to rely on the town to come up with a lot of funding for the next truck. So I know it's sort of extra municipal, but we were hoping you and Simon could get together and if you could sleuth out some possible grants for fire departments or even municipal that have to do with safety.
He hasn't yet, but I certainly can meet with him. I mean, we did apply for, I think Brenda's on now. We did apply for the fire truck grant. We did not get it, though we haven't actually received our denial letter yet. And so I saw on their on their website that we should be getting our denial letter in the next 3 weeks. And when that happens, there is a webinar that you can join to understand more about why you weren't selected. There's also supposed to be a number on that letter that we can call specifically and ask about our application. And so I think we should do that and understand why we were declined. And it could be any assortment of reasons. It could be that we had too recently received funding. It could be that, you know, we had too much money saved towards a truck ourselves. Like, I don't know what it might be, or it might have been we didn't do the grant right. So I will certainly follow up on that piece to understand why we were declined. And then I did notice that they just opened for the next round of that funding, but they are very much focused on safety that is related to PPE, not so much equipment this round, but we certainly should still apply, I think, especially since we went through that exercise applying last time. We have a lot of the data. And then I can look for other grants as well, but off the top of my head, we should definitely figure out why we didn't get the other grant.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can't think of anything else.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next. Oh, I guess Dave Kimball's not.
No, Dave and Bob and John are up.
Yeah. It says here, Dave Kimball.
You're forced to prepare. Okay. You're correct, though. Now, so, yeah, we meet periodically about South Roads and Rescue. We're doing well. Equipment's good. We are 40-something% towards our goal for fundraising for the building. We have hopes out for 3 more grants that would total $120,000. We may have told you before, we've passed the 2 first steps for being granted a congressional earmark through Becca Balance Office for the building. And it's going in the appropriations bill, but it's an appropriations bill in Washington, so, you know.
We just needed to pass a budget.
And we're not working on that.
More than that.
Yeah, the issue that we're having is the same one that fire and police and ambulance everywhere is having, and that's staffing. And luckily, we're working with Werva and with First Branch and covering each other as we need to. I was in a meeting with Fire and Brenda and Chase on a couple of 10 days ago or so, kind of puzzling through some of these things and also the road closures. Right. And Chase was saying there were 4 ambulances in this district for 15 towns. So it's tight. And so we polled our staff crew several months ago what was important to them. The issue is crew retention and recruitment and more pay. We've done some things there. New building, we're working on that, and benefits. And our plan is to have 5 full-time employees to find a 48-hour-a-week employee that we can control a little bit more than we can the per diem staff and dictate weekends and shifts and so forth. But it's costing us some money. And one of the things, the thing that we're running up against is our 3-year contract has a maximum of $65 per capita. And in order to accomplish this, we need to ask for an increase to $67.13 in our 24-25 budget. That costs the town, as compared to this year's budget, $3,900. So that's where we're at. That's part of the budget that we have submitted or will submit. But we think that will get us out of the situation that we're in at this point.
Well, we're gonna soon be budgeting, so
Yeah.
definitely pass that along,
Okay.
as far as I'm concerned.
Or is that something we have to approve? You know, it's like a waiver or it's a
Yeah.
bridge contract or something.
Yeah, there's a 3-year contract. I think we're in the 2nd year that puts a maximum per capita at 65. And so we asked for the 24-25 year to be $67.13, $67.13. And then we can talk about 25-26 to see where we are. Our per capita has been 55, 56. Right now it's 59.99 for, I think I looked at 6 years, we've gone up 7.2% over those years.
Yeah.
So we've controlled it.
Done well, yeah.
Yeah, and Werva is at $72.
Sure.
We've looked at other, over the years, looked at Hartford and they were, $100. So I think we're efficient. I know we're efficient.
Yeah.
But this is the key to making this happen. Other than the $25,000 in ARPA funds that each town put in, we're not asking the town for funds for the building. We're raising the money, we're borrowing.
Yeah.
So.
Dave, what
Guys?
was the hourly rate that they were increasing to? I didn't bring that worksheet, but it was around 16.
Yeah, roughly.
So they're not getting, they're not getting paid an extraordinary amount of money. I think that, and I don't have the worksheet with me, but it's competitive with, it's less than Werva, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's competitive with the other ambulance services, like
Upper Valley. Yeah.
So I think I just got on the board about a month ago, and so there's been a lot going on, but they've had downtime. In other words, people not available to cover the ambulance, and so I think a lot of different entities at different times are having a personnel issue, and I think part of that is part of the problem that they're having is, or the Southern Rescues. You're paying somebody $13-14 an hour, and they could go most anywhere and make $17-18 an hour. So if you're in that predicament, what are you going to do? So you gotta, it's sort of the economy has sort of forced our hand a little bit. And I think everybody's going to be feeling the pinch. I think, First Branch is probably going to be feeling the pinch soon, depending upon what their demographics are of their personnel. And, the fire department's the same thing. I mean, it's not going to get any better, as far as availability of people.
We're covering quite a few shifts for Werva. They're the big organization around here with 2 or 3 ambulances. And we're covering a lot of shifts for them when they can't staff their rigs.
We're covering calls,
Yeah.
right? Mutual aid calls where they usually have what, two
rigs, yeah.
and a lot of times they have only staffing for 1 rig. So they got to rely on mutual aid, just like South Royalton or anyone else for that matter.
Yeah, everything's getting covered through mutual aid or staffing.
So if you have to scramble to make it work.
Yeah, it's a good cooperation with the ambulance services, a lot of communication, so it's getting covered. There are no gaps. And this would be vacation pay, healthcare, and retirement that we're offering.
Which very few of the other services offer.
Well, the retirement, I think, is up to 3%. Simple plan, I think, that they talked about, and the health insurance they're covering at
$550 a month, I think, per
employees. They can choose whatever plan that they want to enroll in, but they have to pay the difference.
Yeah.
And the paid time off, I think, is 48 hours a year, vacation time. So it's it's something that's going to hopefully keep people there and or help keep people coming through the door instead of revolving door.
Is the training, no matter who you work for, the same pretty much too? You're like Royalton, First Branch, whereas the EMT called up.
Well, the EMTs all have to go through the EMT class, and then there's different levels of EMT. And then the EMTI for people who can do intravenous stuff, and then, you know, the paramedics, so there's different levels of it.
Just because I would think, right, retention and recruitment, if you got to a certain level of training and you could make, you know, $5-10 more an hour and wherever.
We could work at McDonald's and make $5-10 an hour more.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we've talked to the crew about that, you know, some of the members of the crew, and this is what they wanna do.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you can go to work and make more money. We hope the environment is better, and the building is part of this as well, you know. You wanna have a good place to go and work and stay, or your 12-hour shift. So we're, you know, doing what we can to recruit people, and we believe it'll work. I don't know if you saw in the paper a couple of weeks ago, Lebanon's, maybe it was online, Lebanon's offering a $30,000 sign-on bonus for the police department.
Wow.
Wow.
And it's, you know, we think this will solve the problem. There's not much cost to the town.
Right, pretty minimal.
Yeah. So we would include this in our budget submission to the town, and you guys decide.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm good. You did well, even without a PowerPoint.
I had a hand up, but you know.
We'll let it slide this time.
Huh?
We'll let it slide this time.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Okay,
pretty good.
thank you.
Very good.
Now, just to add one side note that librarian did call me. And I remembered that I didn't call her today. And I got halfway home and I realized that the phone number is on my desk. So I'm glad, this is weird that it happened this way, but she's doing the right thing by getting the right folks involved.
Yeah.
That way, there's no surprises at the end.
Right.
So our fire marshal will come out and have a chat with her and look over the library and talk with her about it, and if he gives her any trouble, I'll. So, just, you know.
Thank you.
Next.
We'll roll right over around it.
Oh, yeah. So,
I'll see, but it's like more,
yeah, it is.
Get cheese there if your hand is wrong.
That's the mic is. So the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution is coming up in a year and a half. And the nation, I think 33 states, including the state of Vermont, have formed a 250th commission in order to commemorate. And the state of Vermont specifically is from 2025 to 2027, which is start of the revolution to the surrender of Burgoyne. And I am one of those commissioners, so I represent the reenactors, I guess. And what the commission has done is ask the towns, all towns, 252 towns, to, I guess it's more or less create a committee. And the whole idea is to basically create a resolution, which I kind of sent you guys, that has, it's just Tunbridge and sign your name, to form a 250th committee. And the reason, you know, so basically what they want to do is all towns to get on board, because to some extent, you know, the revolution, well, we are pretty exceptional in that we had a raid, right? So we actually have a direct
Post-war going.
yeah, first we're going, yeah, we're not well outside of that. So, but we have an actual historical event that is directly connected to the revolution, which is not a lot of towns do. But of course, we have the 250th anniversary of the surveying of the towns next year. The 250th anniversary of the first permanent settler in the town, first European settler in the town, is in 2026. And the Historical Society is going to be putting on events. And through the Historical Society, because there's obviously a lot of, as we all know, cross-pollination, you know, we're gonna be doing things on Antique Hill during the fair too. And so I think that I'm asking you to, you know, sign the resolution and, you know, create a committee, I guess. And the committee, and that word's really loose in that regard, because in essence, those things are going to be happening anyway. And this is, in my mind, more or less a rubber stamp, just, you
It's an
know,
official.
right, and then, you know, I get, you know, there's an email that says Tunbridge is in, and everybody's happy, and so, So, because like I said, our history is pretty directly linked to this 250th anniversary, which is pretty neat, and this is a pretty low bar. Way to be involved. So, and I'm just asking.
I think it's great.
Yeah. And then of course, if you have any questions. There's only 3 or 4 towns signed up so far, so.
Yeah. It's good again.
Why does it stop Saratoga?
I don't know. I don't really understand that myself, because you have the Carlton raids too, which are, so it's. They're like in the 17, I think those are maybe those are 1780 or 1779 too, so I don't know, I think. Because more or less active military operations end in the north, so I'm assuming that's why, but. We have big ideas, about even for the raid and how to commemorate that as well, so there's gonna be a lot of stuff coming from the historical society perspective, just to. To help commemorate, facilitate those conversations, and to me, it's, I've even thought about doing like maybe a Founder's Day or some kind of celebration to, tourism wise. And that was kind of my pitch to the Antique Hill Committee as well, it's like, this could be used as a draw for people as well, so, 'cause like I said, we are kind of neat in that, it wasn't very neat 250 years ago, but in that we have this, because let's be honest, it ain't the road, right? It's Tunbridge, but, so. Hopefully John Dunn.
Maybe the resolution.
Yeah, that would really cause a stir, wouldn't it?
Gonna rename it to Tunbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
World's an end Tunbridge.
headline in the Herald.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
That really rubs some people the wrong way. So I don't know if you guys have any questions, but
Yeah, we're good at rubber stamping.
yeah, yeah. It does say something about funds, but I honestly can't see at this moment like what that would actually entail, because to me it's more education than it is
right.
building things. The other thing I was considering, or we were considering, well, I was considering, I haven't actually told anybody else this yet, but is they're trying to do a push for more historic markers.
Yeah.
As well, like 250th related historic markers, and I've considered, proposing one. It's a fairly easy process, well, relatively, for Moses Ordway is the first settler, so having a, if there's other ideas about that kind of stuff, so that's where my mind's at. So.
Do you have any idea how much a historic marker costs?
Nothing for the state, I have no idea, but.
There's a cost, but.
Yeah, the process, I did one last year. For Remember Baker down in Arlington.
Oh, really?
And it was a fairly. It's a long process, but it's a fairly, it's basically, you gotta go and. Home, the property owner's permission, select board's permission, and then you gotta do a write-up, and it's gotta be less than 1,000 characters and all that stuff.
Factual.
Yeah, and it gets fact checked.
Yeah.
And gets revised, and so it's a process, but I never found it, or I did not find it to be a very difficult process. So yeah.
We'll be finding out more, because the two John Dunville's talked about, which I think would be great, would be Campbell and James and Franklin Reed's Haskell would be too. But
Yeah.
not related to this.
Right, yeah.
Well, kind of significant.
Yeah, correct. Well, I think personally, the more of those markers, the better.
Yeah.
So, just in general, I think they're cool and they're easy.
Yeah.
So.
And I like them because something like that, if you just drive along, you see one, you say, well, something must have happened.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and I'm a big fan of them, so if they were everywhere, I'd be happy. So
West Tunbridge, the Valley of West Tunbridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It should be.
yeah.
Open up for old thankful over there.
I think we're behind it.
Okay, awesome. Like I said,
Sure. Let us know what we can do to help.
Yeah, and I think more or less just sign it.
That's the mayor, so there you go.
Yeah, well, I think also
Yeah, I think, does that one need
all of you.
stuff filled in though, or did
Yeah,
you fill it in?
I didn't fill it in.
Why, you just sign it anyway.
I'm not exactly sure, and that's a template, so we can change it. I just signed the drive first.
Have it executed next time.
Yeah.
We'll sign away.
Yeah,
I'll have it all set and then you can sign it next time if
Okay.
you want.
All right, you wanna make a motion that we do this?
I make a motion that we sign the Vermont 250th anniversary resolution.
I second that.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
You got it.
thank you very much, I appreciate it.
Number 4.
And obviously I'll keep, we'll see, I'll keep yours. I shouldn't be asking for any money.
But
You may
think about it
not-
now, I mean, even.
You
some
may
small
not get
things.
any.
Yeah, yeah, I just,
It's season, so.
yeah, I couldn't, but I literally can't foresee. Yeah, like, it's gonna be more presentations and that kind of stuff, right, so.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night,
Bye.
thanks, Brad.
Is anyone gonna be here for that or?
No, I have it right here for you. Amos Post said that here's the contract, what was discussed last time. Please send a signed copy back to me with $1,000 deposit at your earliest convenience. Here you go.
How much does the whole thing cost?
It's on the last page.
18,800 or something. Minus,
18,828, you were pretty close.
yeah, but here it says minus. Federal tax credit,
Oh,
$4,895. So the
really?
net cost is 13,933. Right?
I thought we were, for the same amount of money, we were potentially gonna get a few more panels, wasn't that the conversation last time? Cause we had approved that money,
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
but then there
what
was
if
some.
you had all these? What do you get?
Or I think we weren't getting more panels. I think he was prepping the. Whatever,
The
the
conduit
amp or
for-
something, a
for the
conduit
future,
for the
right.
bigger one, for
Okay.
that same amount of money.
Oh,
That makes sense to me.
doesn't to me. Back when I was your age, I could do this in my head.
Would be disappointed.
He would be,
Thank you for writing all this stuff down.
because he would already have it.
Yeah.
Yeah, 18,828, so I don't know. Why? Unless he's
Can we get
taking
clarity on
that
that?
money.
Sure.
That money and putting it in the prepping for
Right.
bigger panels. or
Yeah.
whatever.
It could be, I don't understand.
Because
If
this,
we can send them 1,000 still, but just
this
find out.
comes up to this money,
Right,
and over here it says,
Well, minus, yeah.
yeah. Maybe we ought to read it.
Probably, yeah, it's like.
read it down there.
That's weird if we. Put a minus in there. Were there minutes in?
Yeah, so in this blue folder, there, is a bunch of minutes. Cause after I had, so this is the most recent one that needs your editing, but all of these have been re-edited, so they just need signatures now.
Got it.
So I can forward them into the select.
Is this the most recent thing that was approved by?
Yeah.
Forgot to ask about.
I don't
See, the raise
says
is
anything.
It says something about tax credits will be the responsibility of the
Customer,
customer, yeah,
oh,
so I don't know. I don't know
I don't understand.
if we have to.
We have to pay him the 18,000, then apply for the
Right,
48.95.
yeah, there's a credit
Yeah,
for us, however that works.
can you check into that?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe ask. Mr. Amos,
So are we getting Royalton policing?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's signed the contract.
racking it up, $3,000 worth of police.
That's right.
Already?
No, that's what we're getting,
Oh,
right?
well, over
Because we'd
that,
already spent some.
we had 3,200 and then plus, we got about 4,000 in yet. The constable money too.
What's happening with the sidewalk? Like,
So it's on,
still sending bills to us?
no,
No,
so. Well, I think we just got our last bill, like a $4,000 or something. But now I think everything's paused. I think that. They are still hoping to be able to come back to us in January and have like the. Presentation of like what they have suggested, like 3 different options, but. I don't know if they're gonna actively work on it until they get funding, obviously, so.
there's some weird money stuff going on with that.
Mhm.
Do we wanna sign this thing?
Yeah.
And send him a-
Yeah.
And we just want clarification about this,
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Right, checking,
and then we already voted on this, I don't remember that we had.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay,
well, that was the ARPA money anyways, right?
Mhm.
And then we talked about it originally. A year ago or whenever.
Yeah.
Oh, our story.
so. We're a valued customer.
That's
They're estimating we're gonna use 250 tons at $86.50 a ton,
do we know what it was last year?
less than that. What, what, 78 or something?
Road salt. Last year we used. What's the price on it?
It says delivered 86.5,
Put this on photo,
no,
86.5 times 250.
what's it, that's an estimate, yeah,
Oh,
I assume 86.5 means 86.50.
Times 250 tons,
because last year,
that's 21,625.
21,000. Why is there? Oh, okay, okay. I see. We've spent so far 12,821, but that would be from March.
No, July. July
Oh,
first,
that's right.
it's a fiscal year,
Have we gotten? Oh, we've never spent all our salt ever,
so it's a good thing.
but if that's 21,000, then we're gonna go. Over our salt. If it's added on to this 12,000.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What happened with Larry's truck got here and immediately it didn't work?
Yeah, that, the body didn't tip. So they went flying out sanding and. He can only sand a third of the load and then he has to go back. Yeah, I guess, would you check into this a little bit? This road salt thing, cause it says we spent 13,000. And if we're gonna add another 21,000 onto that. Means we're gonna go. Quite a ways over our budget, and if that's. True, then we wanna know that we gotta budget more this coming year,
Well, also do the math.
right?
I don't know.
See if you can find out what we paid last year, I mean, not that it makes any difference, but.
Well, what are you, what, okay, I see it now. 21, 22. Well, we, like in the 22 fiscal year, we only spent $14,000.
Right. That's just what I'm saying, and the year before was 11,000,
What would this be?
well, 21,000.
Well, obviously, we didn't use the full 250 tons or whatever they estimated, I guess is my point,
Oh,
because we come out to 13,000 instead of 20,000 or 18,000 or whatever. So I assume we weren't gonna use the full amount this year, but we still, it would be close if we've already spent 12,000.
well, if we spent 12,000, added 21,000. We'd be quite a bit over our budget.
Now, this is fiscal year 23, which ended in
Oh,
June 30th.
okay, okay,
So we're talking about,
okay,
this is.
so we're
fiscal year
going from
24
13,000 up to 21,000, if,
For this contract.
if we use all that.
Yeah.
Okay,
So that-
okay,
This whole middle of the
Okay.
year thing,
Okay,
okay,
I'm actually now.
Yeah, so we don't-
We figured it out.
you wanna sign this
pretty quick
contract,
to do that,
Well, I know.
Excel
Mhm,
stuff.
That's
so
right,
she does everything,
right.
does it? So you want me to sign this thing?
Yes, please.
All right. Accept it, it says here, name, title, email.
Oh, man.
I have a liquor license seeking approval for, let's see,
I still. There's no, the town has no policy against liquor on town property.
I find that hard to believe.
I mean,
find
we don't
that
have
hard
a
to believe.
policy, like in our policy book regarding that. Do you wanna make one?
I just find it weird.
Seems like we've talked about that before, we meaning a select board. And I think that like our insurance discourages
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh, I'm sure,
Because like the town hall is a kind of a
Right.
enclosed area.
But Janet also has to show proof of insurance for the shindigs to have alcohol there.
Right. So I think the ball field is a whole different ball wax.
Why?
Well, just say that the ball field doesn't
They don't
have
get
it.
a liquor license.
Yeah.
So at shindigs, people have alcohol?
It's
Yeah, it's
BYOB.
BYOB.
Oh,
Which is what it is at the ball field, and why couldn't it be at the town garage?
what the town.
I mean, it could, if,
Town clerk's office.
if the road crew wasn't drinking it during work hours. Like, I don't think there's like a legal thing saying they couldn't.
Well, I did go in and drink a beer. I'm not.
That's what I'm saying, like, you could go in, like, I don't think that anybody would get mad at you.
Well, I just wonder what the league recommends on this kind of thing,
Yeah.
because
Well, I
it's all
know
public
when
space, municipal
Randolph,
space.
they. You know, I mean, everybody used to drink, town crew and fire department and all that stuff, and then they had a big. And I don't know if it was a town thing or a state thing, or I assumed it was an insurance thing.
Yeah,
I bet it is, a was.
and insurance is usually far more conservative than even the state, because we ran into this with the wedding thing, it was the whole BYOB thing is. They said, you know, from now on, wedding couples need to take out a rider when they have BYOB.
Yeah.
To cover them, yeah. So. I don't know how the town insurance works, or if they're just asleep, but I would think they would not be happy with.
Right.
Well, we used to have every Tuesday before Thanksgiving, so it'd be next Tuesday, there's a raffle at the town garage.
Yeah.
And you could bring whatever, you
Yeah.
could bring a glass
Oh.
of chicken or anything.
I can remember going to Randolph
Yeah.
Town Garage before Christmas, day before Christmas. and
Yeah. Same
They
thing.
had a whole, one table full of food and one table full of booze.
Yeah.
And,
But anyway, the insurance made the town stop doing, allowing that in the town hall.
Randolph used to have a refrigerator in their break room.
Yeah.
And they drilled a big hole through the door, and a keg in there with a.
Right, the road crew,
So why did insurance stop the raffle?
I guess because they didn't want just regular people who didn't work in the town garage, in the town garage.
Even though it's a public space, right? It's-
Yeah, I wasn't on the select board, so I don't know.
Right,
I just assumed that.
Right, because you weren't working. You weren't employed,
Right,
so you probably weren't supposed to be.
They didn't want live chickens in the town garage.
well, it's like if you go into Wilson Tire or something, they don't want you to go back into the work area,
Right.
but. Certainly, like parts of the garage, I would think would be open to the public, if you can certainly go and talk to the road.
Yes.
foreman if you want.
You know, going to Rodney's office. or
Right,
something.
exactly, yeah. But we should probably. I mean, maybe we should have a policy, because that's not an ordinance, but just.
Yeah.
That we're clear.
I got nothing against the rec department as long as it's. You know, they hold it under control, but I was just wondering. How you could even do that.
Have it in
people,
control.
have people wander around with a beer in their hand. Or sitting bleachers or
Right.
whatever, on town property.
Yeah, well, I agree.
I mean, I don't care, but, Dennis went to a game. I don't know, a couple weekends ago, and he said he didn't see anybody drinking, but it was in the morning.
Yeah.
But,
Well, there certainly is some sort of responsibility. When you're the host property.
Hmm.
And people.
Yeah.
Even then have BYOB because, you know, you're somewhat responsible for, I think, what happens on that property.
well, that's why I wondered if our insurance.
Yeah.
Would even,
Right, because if somebody got sauced and then they went down the road and had an accident.
Right.
Then the lawyer for the whoever,
Sue the town.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much, if that lets us off the hook or not, if we had a policy, no drinking and someone drank anyway.
Right,
right,
right, or a big brawl breaks out or something, and a big drunken brawl between two.
oh, no,
I don't know.
But then we get into trouble, we have to enforce.
yeah,
Well, not a policy. That'd be an
Right.
ordinance.
that's kind of a. Can you just kind of maybe check on the insurance
Mhm,
and just. See what it says,
mhm.
Who is our
We go through via CT, we got to pass it.
asset, yeah.
Just call for another town though, so that they don't know what's happening.
This is,
This is Stratford.
Victoria Paquin from South Railton.
Get your accent, right?
Yeah,
Funny things happened to me, and I just did it the other day, my phone at the farm is still under liability. My grandfather,
oh,
and
really?
so when I had to call up about an issue, and I said, this is liability, because if I don't say that, they
Yeah.
won't talk to me.
yeah. I think that for the funeral home, it's still in Elaine and
Really?
David's name, so
Yeah.
Patty always calls and she goes, this is Elaine silly, and I'm like,
It sounds like Patty.
yeah, exactly. Um. Brocklebank Brewing, they are having a holiday party in their tap room,
Ooh.
9 beers of brewing, it's called.
Ooh,
December 9th from noon to 8 o'clock,
You have to drink 9 beers from noon to 8 o'clock.
wow.
probably.
That
Cheese and
takes
crackers.
me right
Band and tacos, all indoors.
Huh?
Can we let them have that really fun thing?
I think we can,
Okay.
if I were available that day, I would go, probably not.
The only other thing that I have is, I got a phone call today from Janet Larkin on Larkin Road. I talked to you about
Yeah.
the dog issue.
Yeah.
She called back and said, turns out it wasn't the porter's dog, so it was fine, everything's figured
That's
out.
why they didn't care.
That's right. She then said to me that she wanted to know if she could leave her property to the town when she passes.
Why?
You said, no,
I said, I will ask the select board.
you
I-
said, why don't you leave it to Mariah's Billy?
I said, Larkin Road, let me know.
Let me come get your place.
Exactly. So I asked her what she had in mind for a use for the property that she would want to leave it to the town, and she said something for kids. a camp of some sort, that type of thing.
How many acres?
It's 32 acres.
We don't
And
want it, cause we want people to pay taxes.
yeah, I did print off her tax bill and her lister card and all of that. It was $3,000 that if it was town property, you wouldn't be getting for
Mhm.
taxes, but
I could run a camp there and make money for the town.
if you wanted to look at.
You could sell. It's serve drink there, it's nice, and.
Kid friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
It sells the cannabis there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I would say no, but.
I guess my thought, and again, I'm not the select board, but
Could,
it's
well,
not like
couldn't-
a building right in town, you know, like if it was the old creamery, then, you know, that would be different, and because that could be utilized by the library for the maker space they're looking
Right.
for, this is kind of out of the way. I think the offer is very kind, but I'm not sure how we could utilize it really.
Well, it might be worth having a discussion with some people in town.
Yeah,
I mean, certainly,
Cause she
look at the
probably,
town forester being used a lot.
right.
cause she'd probably have it written in somehow, that you couldn't sell it. Cause that's what I was thinking, if she gave it to the town, then
If
we
want to
flipped
sell
it
Right,
and then put the money towards the town forest
right.
or,
That's
or the library or
Right,
something like
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that'd be
But
interesting.
that would be really,
Right, in that case, then she could just like, her estate could sell it and the the
Right.
proceeds could go towards, the
right,
town.
right.
We'll talk.
Okay.
You have a radio in your cut.
No,
Are you ready for me to shut this down? Are you all set? You're gonna sign warrants now?
Fine warrants and minutes.
Mariah's gonna go home and watch Oak Island. It's back.